We've got to go back to, as was in that package there, describing that the world is made of atoms, and those atoms are made out of particles, and those particles themselves, the protons and the neutrons, are made of subatomic particles. And since about the time of Einstein, about 100 years ago, excuse me, we've had these bits and pieces that make up those, and this one missing piece of the puzzle is the Higgs boson. And the Higgs boson is what gives everything everything mass.
The cosmic treacle.
Yeah, and can you feel it all around you?
I can feel it 24/7.
Yeah, so we are basically in this sort of this Higgs field that we don't know whether or not it exists. And so what the scientists at CERN, at the Large Hadron Collider, have been doing is they've been smashing particles together, mainly protons, around this huge 27-kilometre ring that sits underground on the French-Swiss border. And when those protons collide with each other, when they smash, you end up with all these bits and pieces that fly off in all directions. And the scientists have been looking at those collisions to see if there is any hint of the Higgs boson. And what we heard this morning at that announcement is that the two separate experiments that have been worked on, both ATLAS and CMS, they seem to be finding these telltale signs. Now, they're still mixed in with a lot of noise, and what they're hoping over the next, in the first half of next year, is to boost the power up and to basically reduce that noise so that the collisions will be a lot louder than the background noise, and they'll get a better confirmation.
So how will this change the way we think about things?
Well, if we do find the Higgs boson, in some ways it won't change anything. It will just confirm what we've thought for the last 5 decades or for the last century. If we don't find it, if it turns out that these telltale signs are just a furphy, and that in 6 months' time or 12 months' time we haven't found it, it means we have to go back and rethink about how does physics work at that very, very minute level. Because it not just applies to, say, the creation of the universe back at the start of the Big Bang when mass was first produced. It also comes down to the things that you and I use, our electronics that are driven by quantum physics, some of the medical tests that go on, even the telecommunications that we use. If we're to go the next step further and develop things like quantum computing, for example, we need to really understand the physics that underpins them.
Okay, then there are some Australians working on this?
Yeah, I was speaking on Monday to Jeff Taylor, Professor Jeff Taylor down at the University of Melbourne. He heads the ARC Centre for Particle Physics at the Tetrascale, I think it's called. And that's a group of universities around Australia who are contributing to this. So it truly is an international effort, and it's good to know that there are Australians intrinsically involved in it.